Hi, writers. Today we get to start a whole new writing unit. So you spent a lot of time learning about personal narratives and really perfecting the quality of your work. And so many of your stories turned out just amazing. We learned a lot about personal narratives. So now we're going to shift gears. We're going to learn about a new type of writing, and we're going to start all over at the beginning of the writing process. And this time, we're going to spend the next, pretty much from now all the way up until winter break. That's hard to believe, but it's about 6 weeks that we're going to spend working together writing nonfiction books. Yay! How many of you are so excited to write nonfiction now? So another word for nonfiction is informational. And you can see that word right here. Informational. That T-I-O-N sounds like shun. Informational. So when writers set off on a journey to do a new type of writing, oftentimes they study other authors that have come before them to get some ideas about what that type of writing or what that genre looks like. That's what we're going to work on today. So we're not so much going to be doing any writing today. Unless you have some extra time, then you can do joy writing. But today we're going to look at some published books. We're going to look at some published books that are personal narratives. We're going to look at some published books that are informational, so two different genres. And we're going to compare and contrast these books, like the way that these books are written. So if you've never seen this crazy looking diagram that's here, this is called a Venn diagram, V-E-N-N, Venn diagram. And what you do with the Venn diagram, it's basically two circles on top of each other. And on this part of the circle, where it says personal narratives, this whole area over there, those are going to be things that you notice that authors do in personal narratives, but they do not do in informational text. And then this circle over here, this part right over here, this part is going to be full of things that you notice and you see that authors do in informational text, but they do not do in personal narratives. And then in the middle are going to be things that you notice that are true about both personal narratives and informational. So that white spot in the middle there. Okay, so we're getting our brain to think about, all right, we spent a ton of time learning about personal narratives, which are true stories that really happened in our life. And now we're going to be writing informational or nonfiction books. So your activity today is asking you to look at two different collections that I have shared with you on Epic. One of the collections I actually shared with you quite a while ago, and you might remember reading some of these books. Each of these books here are personal narratives. These are books that tell small moments in the characters' lives, right? So they could have really happened. Now, this gets a little bit hard to tell sometimes since they're published, but these are real things. And so you're going to pick at least one of these books. And you're going to read it the whole way through. Then you're going to pick another book on the informational text collection. I've got some really good ones here for you. You're going to read that book the whole way through. You're going to try and notice, what did this author do? What is this author writing about? What kinds of words do they use? Whatever you notice. And then you're going to come back to the seesaw again, and you're going to use your text box to put, I'd say, at least 3 things you notice about personal narrative, 3 things about informational, and 3 things about both. So you would type it up in a text box, and then you move that text box wherever it goes. So I'm going to start it off pretty simple. I'm not going to give too many examples because I don't want to take a lot of your ideas. But for example, in both books, you're going to notice that the authors use periods, right? They're going to use periods after sentences in both books. So that is something you would see in both. So I would take that and I would put that right there. Okay. Another thing that you might notice is that in personal narratives, it's written from beginning to middle to end of a story. So beginning to middle to end, right? That's the way that the story goes, from beginning to the middle to the end. So, right? So what you do then is you just make that text box and you make it fit on that side. Okay, and then just thinking about something that you would notice in informational. Informational would be true facts about a topic, right? About a topic. So the true story, like the personal narrative, really did happen, right? It's a true story, but it's not telling you all about a topic, whereas informational books teach you all about a topic. Okay, so that is how your activity will look once you start to complete it. But you're going to have at least 3 for personal narrative, 3 for both, and 3 for informational. All right, really think hard about what you see within those books. All right, I'm excited to start this new journey with you. I think a lot of you are going to love writing informational or nonfiction books. Hop to it, writers.